Namaste everybody, Lisa Romano here, the Breakthrough Life Coach, and today we're going to talk about how you can begin, to learn how to trust your feelings. Undoubtedly, and every time I coach somebody, we get to a point in their recovery where they begin to ask me questions about trusting their own guidance, trusting their own feelings. They'll say to me, but how do I know that this feeling is correct? Or how do I know that this perception is correct? You know, I was abused by my mother and, you know, she used to look at me a certain way. And now when I date my girlfriend, you know, I'm out with my girlfriend, you know, I feel the same way towards her that I did my mom. How can I trust that that's real? What should I do with that? You know, what if it turns out that I couldn't trust that feeling, that it was just a projection? You say, Lisa A. Romano, you're always telling everybody that, you know, the way we look at the world is we're looking at the world through a lens, and that lens has been corrupted by childhood programming, you know, and that's true. That's what I say, and that is a fact. So we perceive ourselves and we perceive the world through a particular lens, okay? And all of us, every human being is born asleep, okay? That's a fact. That's why newborns sleep so much, because they're in a sleep state, brainwave state. And children up until about the age of 7, some say 8, jury's out, but up until about the age of 7, all children are in a trance-like state, which is a hypnotic brainwave state. So our parents are essentially hypnotists. Our teachers, the people that train us, you know, in church and in the synagogue and wherever else you go, whatever faith you belong to, people, leaders, authorities that come into our lives, that are in our lives up until we are about 7 years old, are basically hypnotists. Even television, hypnotizing children, and don't think advertisers don't know that. At any rate, we have to understand that our perceptions are the result of what's happened in the past, and the way we view the world is very much through a filter, and we are all projecting our stuff, our inner stuff, onto other people all the time. So now, you know, you get to a point in your recovery where you're beginning to understand this and you're becoming accountable and you're wondering how this affects you. So if you're the codependent and you've been in a narcissistic relationship, you know, how much of this are you projecting onto your partner? And anybody who's asking that question is brilliant and so close to having an amazing breakthrough, because the people, in my opinion, who heal the deepest are the most humble. And you have to be a humble person to be able to ask yourself that type of a question. Can I trust my feelings? Because there are people out there that never ask that question. Narcissists never ask themselves, is this opinion of my girlfriend or my wife or my husband valid? Or my children? They never ask themselves, am I really looking at this correctly? Am I projecting? Am I being fair? So the fact that you're even asking the question is brilliant, and it is it's indicative of how humble you are, and it also means that you're on the right path and you're definitely close to experiencing breakthroughs. That being said, now, I have to preface this, dear ones. I know I'm very long-winded, but I have to preface this. You can't just come out here with information. You have to help people understand, you know, what you mean. So I'm sorry it's so long-winded. I'll get to the point now. And so what we have to understand is that many of us have been taught not to trust how we feel. Now, put it on the side, this idea that our perception could be flawed. Just put it on the side, just for a second. Put it over here. That's really not what we need to focus on right now. When you're trying to learn how to trust your feelings, you have to work backwards, which means that you have to trust every feeling in the moment. That's why I teach the 1, 2, 3 process. So the 1, 2, 3 process means it's my way of teaching you and members of my class and personal clients. It's my way of helping people learn to identify what has gone wrong. Because what has gone wrong throughout our life is that we have not been allowed to feel our feelings. We have not been allowed to validate our feelings. We have been taught in big ways and in small ways what we think and what we feel is invalid. So My solution to that is let's rewind the tape. Let's go back to the beginning and let's treat ourselves the way we were supposed to always be treated, so we can get to a point when we're able to process our emotions in a more constructive way. Okay? So what I did when I was on my healing journey was I accepted that I was taught that I wasn't allowed to feel my feelings. That no matter what I said, Lisa was wrong. She's being a drama queen. It's always about her. She just wants attention, blah, 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 right? So then I went back and I realized, well, what was supposed to happen? Well, what was supposed to happen is when I had a feeling, my parents were supposed to be inquisitive. They were supposed to validate what I was feeling. They were supposed to show up. They were supposed to mirror what they heard me saying. They were supposed to hold a space for me so that that feeling could flow, right? Because emotions are just energy in motion. So the goal is really in our being is to learn how to let the energy in our bodies flow, right? So I began to understand that, wow, I wasn't allowed to flow my energy. So I have to teach myself how to flow my energy. So parents are supposed to hold the space for their children. They're supposed to say, even if the child is saying, "Mommy, I hate you," Mommy is supposed to say, "Why do you hate me? Why do you think you hate me? And what does hate mean to you? And what's this all about?" You know, mommies aren't supposed to say, oh yeah, you hate me? Well, then you know what? You're not eating dinner. That's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to hold the space. I'm angry because you wouldn't let Tommy come over after school, and I really like playing with Tommy, blah, 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 blah. And we're supposed to mirror back to this child and say, oh, I can understand why you're so angry. I can understand why in this moment you feel like you hate Mommy because, you know, Mommy said no. I can understand that. So we're not reacting, we're validating the child's emotion. So now what happens is this energy in this child it's staying, it's moving throughout his system. He's not feeling shamed for what he feels. And he has a being who's presenting herself, right? You know, selfless and saying, I hear you, I see you, you know, not making it about her, having complete empathy for this child's experience because she's so evolved. She's not taking it personally. And she understands that her place in this child's life is to guide him and to teach him how to allow his feelings to flow, right? Because this is our job as mothers and fathers, teaching our children how to stay in the flow with what they feel so that they can get so in touch with who they are as on an emotional level and on an authentic level that as adults, they are following their own instincts, they're following their own bliss, and they're evolving into people that are just magnetic, and they're evolving into people that are living their lives out loud, right? But we can't create adults like that if we are teaching our children that they're not allowed to feel what they feel. So we create this space for this child. He feels what he feels. We acknowledge how he feels. We mirror it back. We tell the child, I could see why you feel that way. And very oftentimes what happens is this child's emotions begin to dissipate. He no longer feels the need to hold on to that anger, which is awesome. You know, and you just hold the space for the child. Later on, you could revisit and you could say, when you said that, would you like to know how I felt about it? Maybe we could talk about that now. And in a very calm space, we talk about how what the child said affected us. Because we don't want to turn kids into narcissists either, right? We don't want to have them thinking that it's all about them. We have to also teach them in a gentle, loving way from a space of love, right? Not from ego, space of love, because ego is all about fear. And me. We have to teach these children about the consequences that their words have on other people who love them. So it's a balance, but everything has to start from love. Getting back to us. So when we're children, we're not allowed to feel what we feel. We're taught that our feelings don't matter. So what we have to do as adults is we have to train ourselves to take some time, but we have to train ourselves to understand that we're just, in the moment, for the now, we're just supposed to learn how to flow our energy. So that means if I'm angry, I have to absolutely accept that in this moment, I'm pissed off. We don't judge it. I'm just pissed off. I'm just pissed off. I'm just pissed off. I got up early today, and I didn't expect to see a sink full of dishes, and that pisses me off. You stay with that anger. You stay in that moment. You accept how you feel. The second thing you do is you try to identify where you feel, where and how does your energetic body tell you, how does it speak to you? How do you know that you're angry? For me, it feels like cotton is in my head. It feels like I've just hit a wall. I look at my energy body as a second entity, a separate entity that is speaking to me, letting me know how I feel. And so when I walk into the kitchen and I feel this sudden change in my disposition, and I just feel out of alignment, I then look to identify, how is my energy body letting me know that this happened and it is out of alignment with what I want to experience? Who the hell wants to wake up at 3:30 in the morning and find a sink full of dishes? Hell no, I don't want to. And if I feel pissed off about that, that's a valid feeling, right? But I have to identify how I know that I'm pissed off, because you've got to learn to connect to your body, because you've been taught to be disconnected from your body by past experiences. So for me, like I said, I feel like I have cotton in my head. I feel like someone's stepping on my chest. Sometimes if I'm really, really upset, and usually when it involves other people, my heart just beats erratically. Like it skips beats, and I'm very, very aware that, my rhythm is off. It could be quite frightening. And so that's the way my energy body sends me the signal that something's happening out here that I'm not happy with. Then what you do is you decide what you want to do with how you feel. Most codependents and abused adults get stuck in how they feel. They feel it, they're in panic mode, they're in fight, flight, or freeze. Most of the time I was frozen. And you don't know where to go from there. So the next step is to decide what you want to do about how you feel. So you ask yourself, what can't I control? What can I control? And ultimately, how do I want to feel? We make the decision based on the answers to those three questions. Can't control that my daughters were up late and they left me with a sink full of dishes. Can't control that anger showed up, because that's valid and I'm not going to push away my feelings anymore. I'm not going to react to them, but that's a valid feeling. What can I control? I can control whether or not I go up there like a bat out of hell, wake these kids up, pull the comforters off them, act like a crazy person, and make them go downstairs and clean the dishes. I can control whether or not, I wait till they wake up and ask them to clean the dishes then. I can control whether or not I just go have a meditation and just relax myself and detach and realize this really isn't a big thing in the scheme of things. It's dishes in a sink. It's not anything life-threatening. I can reframe this and choose to look at this as a way that the kids were just up, they were up together, they were having a good time, they were working on art projects together. Isn't that lovely? And they just didn't want to have to do the dishes at 1 a.m. I get it, but now I'm going to ask them to do it at whatever, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock when they get up. Ultimately, how do I want to feel? I want to feel in alignment with my daughters, not out of alignment. So I have to make a decision that will net me that result. So now that I know what I can't control, I know what I can control, and I know how I want to feel, I'm going to choose to wait till they get up, help them explain what it feels like to wake up and see this, hear their side of the story, and then ask them to take care of their responsibility. Then all is well. Now, we learn to trust our feelings by accepting how we feel, no matter what we feel. Even if you, in the moment, think that what you feel, you shouldn't feel, right? So let's say you feel jealousy and you don't think you should feel jealousy, or you still feel anger. We have to get to a point where you understand that the only way to learn how to trust what you feel and to know that what you feel is valid and to know that you're making decisions based on valid perceptions is to start by accepting how you feel no matter what you feel in every single moment, right? So that means, let's say you're dating somebody and he's spending a lot of time with his kids. So here you are, you're at the park with your boyfriend and his kids, and you're beginning to feel jealous. And you notice this, uh-oh, I'm beginning to feel jealous. I don't like the way I feel. You have to accept that in the moment, I'm feeling jealous. Or you notice that you're having this sensation. Then you ask yourself, how do I know I feel this way? My thoughts are changing. My stomach's changing. I feel pressure in my chest. I can tell by the way my mind is thinking that I'm feeling jealous. Okay, I have to make a decision about the way that I feel. What can't I control? What can I control? And ultimately, how do I want to feel? I can't control that I feel this way, because it's like trying to control the fact that I have green eyes. Can't control that. It is what it is. I can't control that my boyfriend spends a lot of time with his children right now. I can't control that my boyfriend has children. I don't have any children. I can't control that he has them today, and this was a day that we were supposed to spend together. It just happened. His ex is sick or whatever, and they're with him today. What can I control? I can control whether or not I leave. I can control whether or not I stay in a relationship with a man who has children, whose life is very unpredictable. Maybe I don't want that in my life. You know, I can control whether or not I act like he's doing something wrong. I can control whether or not I act out. I can be very kind in this moment and be supportive of what he's going through and actually support these children. Ultimately, how do I want to feel? I want to feel in alignment with my decisions, and I want to feel peaceful. So what decision are you going to make based on how you feel? Well, I'm not going to react to these jealous feelings that I have, but they may be an indicator perhaps that I'm in the wrong relationship. Maybe I'm not ready to date somebody who has children. You know, maybe I am. But right now I'm not going to react to how I feel. And I will revisit this feeling at a later time and journal about it and think about it. But for the moment, I think I'll go over to my boyfriend and his children and go help them or hang out with them in the sandbox or on the swings. Eventually what will happen is, if you do this enough times, you will be able to feel your feelings and learn how to trust them over time. But the big thing that we have to help everybody understand is this idea that no matter what you feel, you have to allow that feeling. Because what we do wrong is we layer our feelings, right? And when we layer our feelings, we prevent ourselves from being able to stay in the flow. Energy is meant to flow, okay? You are an energetic being and you're supposed to flow. And when you don't allow yourself to feel what you feel, and when you judge what you feel, you are preventing yourself from flowing. And you can't progress. You just can't. So the next time you feel something, good or bad, terrible, ugly, something that you don't wish you felt, don't judge it. Spend 5 or 10 minutes allowing how you feel. Put your hand on your heart and say to yourself, I feel jealous. In this moment, I'm feeling jealousy. I'm not sure I know why I feel jealous, but I am becoming aware of this feeling of jealousy. And I'm just going to allow myself to feel that jealousy. And I'm not going to judge myself for feeling jealous. I'm just going to allow it. Yep, I feel it. I feel that jealousy. I can definitely feel that jealousy. You are angry. I feel that. Wow, I'm really angry right now. I'm really angry at my husband or my daughter or my wife. I'm really angry at my boss or my coworker. I'm really pissed off at that cab driver. You know, I'm really pissed off at Lisa Romano. Whatever. I'm really angry. I'm really angry. I'm really angry. Don't judge it. The minute you are angry that you're angry, you have put a cork in your emotional circuitry and you're creating a block. Don't layer your emotions. Allow your emotions to surface. That doesn't mean you have to react to them, but you must get in the habit of allowing your emotions to flow. And if you do this enough times, over time, you will be able to process what you're feeling. And in a short amount of time, you'll be able to trust what you feel, because what will happen in seconds, eventually, if you practice this enough, is you'll feel a feeling, you'll validate it, you'll survey the situation and decide how you want to feel about it, which is just awesome. But again, dear ones, this all takes practice. Practice. This all takes practice. Thank you for being dedicated to light. Thank you so much for following me on YouTube, Insight Timer, Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook. And I so hope I see some of you, or a lot of you, inside one of my coaching programs soon, as well as our cruise, which we shove off in April of 2018. If you haven't already, join me on Facebook. You know, I post lots of stuff daily, and I have great moderators, all of whom have taken both my coaching classes. We're very, very lucky to have such a special Facebook group. Namaste, everybody. I bow to the love and light that is absolutely in you. Happy healing.